Ethan Brooks grew up believing a simple truth: if you do what is right, life will eventually do right by you. He believed integrity was a shield, honesty a reward system, and obedience a shortcut to peace. No one ever told him that sometimes doing the right thing costs more than doing the wrong one. Welcome back to Eden Stories. We are so glad you've returned to join us for another inspiring journey of faith, hope, and perseverance. Here, every story reminds us that staying faithful, walking in integrity, and trusting God through every challenge is always worth it. Sit back, relax, and let today's story encourage your heart and strengthen your spirit.
I followed every rule. Every single one. I showed up early. I stayed late. I told the truth when lying would have saved me. So why does it feel like I'm the only one paying the price? They said, do the right thing, and God will honor you. Well, God. I did the right thing. I stood when it was easier to sit. I spoke when silence would have protected me. And now I'm here. Alone. Jobless. Questioned. Forgotten. Did I misunderstand you? Did I hear you wrong? Or is this what obedience really looks like, walking forward while everything behind you falls apart?
Ethan didn't lose everything because he was careless. He didn't fall because he was foolish. He lost everything because he refused to compromise. And in a world that rewards shortcuts and silence, integrity can feel like a punishment.
I could have looked away. I could have signed the paper and kept my position. I could have said, it's not my problem. But it was my problem. Because it was wrong. If this is the cost of doing right, then why does it hurt this much?
This was only the beginning. Before the reward. Before the vindication. Before the miracle, there was loss. And Ethan was about to learn a truth few prepared for: sometimes obedience looks like failure before it looks like victory. Morning came, but it brought no answers, only choices. Some mornings test faith not with noise, but with silence. This was one of those mornings. I didn't sleep much last night. Every time I closed my eyes, I kept thinking about today. About the calls you might get, the doors that might close, and the ones we don't even know exist yet.
I kept replaying everything in my head. Every word I said. Every document I refused to sign. Part of me keeps wondering if I made life harder for us. For you.
You didn't make life harder. You made it honest. There is a difference, even when it doesn't feel like it right now. I know fear is knocking loudly today. But fear doesn't get to lead this house. Faith does.
I wish faith didn't feel so heavy sometimes. They always talk about trusting God like it's easy, like it doesn't come with bills, reputations, and sleepless nights.
Faith isn't pretending things don't hurt. Faith is choosing God even when they do. Heavenly Father, we stand before you this morning with hearts that are unsure, but willing. We don't know what today will bring, but we know you are already there. No matter what happens today, we choose to trust you. Not because it's comfortable, but because you are faithful. If doors close, give us peace. If people walk away, remind us that you never will. And if obedience costs us more than we expected, give us the strength to keep standing.
Lord, I won't pretend I'm not afraid. I feel the weight of every decision pressing on my chest. But even if it costs us our comfort, our security, our plans, I won't compromise what you've placed in my heart. I refuse to trade integrity for convenience. I refuse to silence truth just to protect myself. If standing with you means standing alone for a season, then give me the courage to stand anyway. We place our future in your hands, God. Teach us to trust you not only when you bless us, but when you stretch us.
Their prayer didn't change their circumstances, but it changed their posture. They didn't rise with certainty, but with resolve. And sometimes, resolve is the greatest miracle of all.
No matter what happens today, I'm glad I don't have to walk through it alone.
And no matter what it costs us, we won't lose ourselves. Some days, integrity isn't tested quietly. Some days, it's shouted in your face, disguised as convenience, wrapped in the promise of reward. And some days, it demands a choice you aren't sure you're ready to make.
Ethan. Come on. Look at these numbers. Just a small adjustment here and there, and everything looks perfect. No audits, no complaints. Honestly, nobody will ever know the difference. Think about it. This could save your project, your reputation, even your bonus. Everyone's feeling the pressure, Ethan. And you're the one in the spotlight. Just change the numbers. Nobody will see it. Nobody will care. I can't do that, Mark. It's not just about the numbers. It's about honesty. Integrity. The principle behind what we do. I can't sign off on something I know is false, even if it means losing favor, losing trust, or even losing this job. Ethan. This isn't a matter of right or wrong. This is survival. You think anyone here cares about integrity when the board sees missing targets? You think they care about principles when profits are on the line? Maybe they don't care. But I do. I've spent years building my life on the belief that doing right matters, even when it costs something. If I betray that, I betray everything I stand for. And more than that, I betray the one who taught me that truth matters more than comfort, and faithfulness matters more than applause. You're going to lose everything over a spreadsheet, Ethan. Everything. And for what? A personal victory that nobody will ever see? Not everything. Not for me. Faith, character, and the knowledge that I stayed true, those aren't things you can take from me, Mark. I'd rather walk out of this office tomorrow with nothing than walk in with a lie on my conscience. Even if it costs me everything I've worked for. I can't do it. You really are something else, Ethan. Some kind of saint. Or just stubborn.
Integrity rarely offers applause. It rarely brings comfort. Sometimes, it leaves you alone, exposed, facing loss. But for those who choose it, it becomes a light that cannot be dimmed, no matter how dark the day may seem.
Ethan. I need you to stop thinking like a preacher for a moment and start thinking like a provider. This isn't about spreadsheets anymore. This is about real life, the kind that shows up every morning whether you're ready or not. Think about your family. Think about the responsibility sitting on your shoulders every time you walk through your front door. This job feeds them. This job keeps the roof over their heads. This job is the difference between stability and struggle. Principles are important, yes, but principles don't pay rent. Integrity doesn't keep the lights on. And faith lowers his voice. Faith won't explain to your family why everything fell apart. You think I don't feel that way? You think I wake up every morning unaware of what's at stake? Every decision I make carries my family's name on it. Every choice echoes into my home, into my marriage, into the future I am trying to protect. But hear me clearly, Mark, I refuse to build that future on a lie. You're being idealistic. No. I'm being faithful. And there is a difference. God provides for my family, not lies. Not altered numbers. not silence in the face of wrongdoing. If I compromise truth to keep this job, then I'm telling my family that fear is greater than faith. You're risking too much. I'm protecting what matters most. Because what good is a paycheck if it costs me my peace? What good is security if it teaches my children that survival is more important than righteousness? I would rather struggle honestly than succeed dishonestly. I would rather trust God with uncertainty than trust lies with my future. If provision comes at the price of my conscience, then it's not provision, it's bondage.
Fear had spoken its strongest argument. But faith had answered with something fear could not silence: conviction.
I hope your God shows up for you. He always has. And even if the help doesn't come the way I expect, I won't bow to fear to force a blessing.
Pressure had done all it could. The line had been drawn. And the cost of doing right was about to be paid in full. When a man refuses to bend, the system no longer negotiates. It warns. What once sounded like advice now becomes a threat. And the price of obedience is placed plainly on the table.
Ethan, I want you to understand something very clearly. This isn't a suggestion anymore. You've reached the end of your choices. Refuse to cooperate, refuse to adjust those numbers, refuse to play along. And you will regret it in ways you're not even prepared for. You will lose the protection you think you have. Your name will no longer be defended in meetings. Your record will be questioned. And when things fall apart, you'll be standing alone, wondering why you didn't choose the easier path when it was still offered. I hear every word you're saying. I understand the power you think you have over my future, my income, my stability, and my sense of security. I'm not naive. I know exactly what refusing you could cost me. But I also know something else. I know that if I surrender my conscience today, I won't recognize myself tomorrow. I know that if I bow to fear now, it won't stop demanding more later. And I know that a life built on compromise eventually collapses under its own weight. You're making a dangerous decision. No. I'm making a faithful one. And those are often misunderstood by people who measure success by control instead of character. I answer to God first. Before threats. Before titles. Before paychecks. Before fear. Your God won't stop what's coming. Maybe not. But He will walk with me through it. He will strengthen me when doors close. And He will remain faithful long after this building forgets my name. Then don't say you weren't warned.
The warning had been spoken. The choice had been sealed. And the cost of doing right was no longer approaching, it was at the door. There are moments when life does not shout its turning points. It simply announces them, cold, direct, and final. This was one of those moments.
Have a seat, Ethan. This decision wasn't easy, but it is final. After reviewing your actions, your refusal to cooperate, and your inability to align with company expectations, your employment here is terminated. You're to pack your things and leave the building immediately. So, this is it. We need compliance, not resistance. This company can't function with individuals who place personal beliefs above organizational goals. I see. So honesty is now a liability. And truth is considered insubordination. Watch your tone. I'm not angry. I'm just absorbing the cost of staying faithful to what I know is right. I gave this place my time, my loyalty, and my best efforts. I didn't steal. I didn't lie. I didn't betray the work entrusted to me. And yet here I am, being escorted out for refusing to compromise my conscience. You made your choice. Yes. And so did you.
Loss doesn't always come with drama. Sometimes it arrives quietly, leaving shock in its wake.
Security will escort you. Pack your things.
The walk of obedience is often lonely. And in moments like this, faith must speak louder than grief.
Lord, I've lost my job. But not my faith. I trust you, even now.
He walked out without applause, without explanation, without certainty. But heaven had seen everything. Doing right didn't open doors. It shut them. No applause followed his obedience. No reward rushed in to soften the blow. Only silence, and the echo of a choice that cost more than he ever expected. He had believed that integrity would protect him. That honesty would be a shield. That faithfulness would build a bridge to safety. Instead, it dismantled everything he thought was secure. Every step home felt heavier than the last. Not because he regretted his decision, but because obedience doesn't numb the pain of loss. It simply gives it meaning. This was the walk no one prepares you for. The walk where prayers feel unanswered. The walk where faith is no longer a declaration, but a decision repeated with every breath.
Lord, I did what I knew was right. I just didn't know it would feel this empty afterward.
There were no words left to say. Only questions he dared not speak out loud. Only trust, quiet, trembling, and unresolved. Faith had stripped him of certainty. But it had not stripped him of God. You're back already. I thought you said you had a late meeting today. Ethan. What's wrong? The way you're standing there, it's like something heavy followed you home.
I didn't know how to walk through that door. I stood outside for a while, just breathing, telling myself to be calm, telling myself to find the right words. But there are no easy words for days like this.
You were scaring me. Please. Just say it.
I lost my job today.
You lost your job. No, that can't be right. You've been one of their most trusted employees. What happened?
What happened is that I was asked to compromise something I couldn't give up. They wanted me to change reports. To hide numbers. To pretend wrongdoing didn't exist. And when I refused, they said I left them with no choice.
So let me understand this clearly. They demanded dishonesty, and when you chose integrity, they punished you for it.
Yes. They told me honesty was inconvenient. That integrity was expensive. That loyalty meant protecting the company's image, even if it meant lying. And when I said I couldn't do that, everything ended.
After all the late nights. After all the sacrifices you made for that job. They dismissed you like you were nothing?
In that room, none of it mattered. My years there didn't matter. My effort didn't matter. Only my refusal did.
Ethan. How are you holding up?
I'm trying to be strong, but I won't lie to you. I feel shaken. I feel uncertain. I keep replaying the moment in my head, wondering if standing my ground was worth what we just lost.
And do you think it wasn't?
I don't regret telling the truth. But I'm afraid of what comes next. Bills don't pause for integrity. Responsibilities don't disappear because you did the right thing.
Listen to me carefully. What you did today wasn't foolish, it was faithful. You chose truth when lying would have been easier. And I would rather face uncertainty with a man who honors God than live comfortably with one who betrayed his conscience.
I was afraid you'd be disappointed in me.
Disappointed? Ethan, I'm proud of you. You didn't just keep your integrity, you taught me what courage looks like under pressure.
I don't know where this road leads.
Neither do I. But I know who walks it with us. And I know that God never forgets obedience, especially when it costs something.
I just hope this loss becomes a lesson, not a lifetime setback.
Sometimes what feels like a setback is God clearing space for something better. I went through the mail again this morning. I tried to organize everything so it wouldn't feel overwhelming, but the numbers still speak very loudly. Rent is due in a few days.
I keep telling myself not to look at them, as if avoiding the papers might delay reality. But every envelope feels like a reminder of how quickly things changed.
I know this isn't easy for you. It's not easy for me either. I keep replaying yesterday in my head, wondering how we went from normal routines to counting every dollar overnight.
One moment you're planning the month with confidence, and the next you're questioning how to cover the basics. It's humbling. And frightening.
I'm not saying this to pressure you. I just believe we need to face it together, even if we don't have answers yet.
That's the hardest part. I'm used to having solutions. I'm used to being the one who says, I've got this. Right now. I don't know how.
Do you feel like you failed us?
Yes. Even though my mind knows I did the right thing, my heart keeps accusing me. It tells me that integrity doesn't keep the lights on.
But faith tells us something different.
I don't know how we will pay the rent. I don't know how the numbers will add up. I don't know what door will open next. But I do know this. God knows.
And that's what we're holding on to now, isn't it? Not certainty, but trust.
I wish I could give you guarantees. I wish I could promise that everything will be fine by the end of the week. All I can promise is that I won't stop believing, even when fear tries to take over.
Then we'll walk this season slowly. We'll pray over every bill. We'll choose faith every morning, even when anxiety tries to speak louder.
If God saw me choose truth at work, then He sees us now, sitting at this table. And I believe He will make a way, even if we can't see it yet.
We may not know how, but God knows how.
Ethan, the moment I stepped into this room, I could feel the weight you've been carrying. It's the kind of weight that doesn't show on the outside but presses down on the heart, the weight that comes when life suddenly stops making sense. That's exactly what it feels like. Nothing looks the way it used to, and everything I thought I understood about doing the right thing feels upside down now. I heard about what happened at work, and I want you to know this first: what you did required more strength than compromise ever does. Walking away with integrity costs more than staying with comfort. It doesn't feel strong. It feels like obedience punished me. I told the truth believing it would bring peace, but instead it stripped away security and replaced it with fear and uncertainty. That's because obedience isn't a transaction. It's not something we do so that life immediately becomes easier. Obedience is a seed, and seeds are buried before they ever grow. Right now, it feels like I'm buried with it. I wake up every morning wondering if I misheard God. If standing firm was bravery or just stubbornness dressed up as faith. You didn't mishear God. What you're experiencing is the space between obedience and outcome, the part of the journey most people give up on because it's silent and uncomfortable. Silence is the hardest part. If God would just speak, if He would just explain, this waiting wouldn't feel so heavy. I know. But heaven records obedience even when earth responds with rejection. Every moment you chose truth over survival was noticed, not forgotten, not ignored, not wasted. Heaven may have recorded it, but it feels like earth erased me. Earth can erase positions, but it cannot erase purpose. Sometimes God allows a door to close not because you were wrong, but because staying would have cost you more than leaving. I keep thinking about how easy it would have been to just agree, to keep my job, to protect my family from this stress. Easy does not mean right. And right does not always feel rewarding at first. But I promise you this, obedience that feels like loss today often becomes testimony tomorrow. I'm tired of feeling like I did everything right and still lost. You didn't lose. You advanced in a way you can't see yet. God is not finished with the story that obedience started. I don't know how long I can hold on. Hold on just one day at a time. Faith isn't about knowing how it will end, it's about trusting God in the middle. Lord, I've been sitting here for a long time, trying to gather my thoughts, trying to calm my heart, trying to convince myself that I'm stronger than the fear that keeps rising up inside me. But no matter how long I sit in this quiet, the questions don't go away, they only grow louder. I remember the moment I chose to tell the truth. I remember how clear it felt, how firm my heart was, how convinced I was that doing what was right would somehow protect everything else in my life. I truly believed that obedience would bring peace, not uncertainty. But tonight, Lord, I'm surrounded by consequences I didn't fully prepare for. Bills on the table. Sleepless thoughts. A future that suddenly feels fragile and unsteady. And in the middle of all this, I'm asking the question I never thought I would have to ask. Did I really do the right thing? I want to trust you without hesitation. I want to believe that obedience is enough, even when nothing makes sense. But trusting you right now feels like walking forward without being able to see the ground beneath my feet. I'm not angry at you, Lord. I'm just tired. Tired of not understanding. Tired of trying to be strong when I feel weak. Tired of carrying the weight of knowing that my decision affects more than just me. I look at Laura and I see where she tries to hide, strength she forces herself to show, faith she holds on to even when it costs her peace. And I wonder if my obedience put her here, or if this is simply where obedience is tested. If I heard your voice correctly, please remind me. If I honored you, please confirm it to my heart. Because doubt is loud right now, and faith feels quiet. I don't need all the answers tonight. I don't need you to explain everything. I just need to know that you're still with me in this silence, that you haven't stepped away because I asked hard questions. Lord, if I did the right thing, give me peace that doesn't depend on outcomes. And if I didn't, correct me, but don't abandon me. Hold me steady while I wait, because I don't trust my strength right now.
Truth does not rush. It does not compete with lies or shout for attention. Truth waits patiently, confident that time will eventually uncover what was hidden. Lies, on the other hand, are restless. They require constant defense, constant adjustment, and constant fear of exposure.
Mr. Mark, we appreciate you coming in. This review is part of a routine audit, but certain discrepancies have drawn our attention, and we need clear explanations. Of course. I've always been transparent with company records. I'm confident this will all be cleared up quickly. We'll see. Several reports were altered shortly before submission. The changes benefited the company's public image, but raised serious ethical concerns. Those adjustments were necessary. We were protecting the organization from unnecessary scrutiny.
Lies often disguise themselves as protection. They sound reasonable. They appear practical. But beneath the surface, they rot.
According to internal records, these alterations were made under your authorization. However, we've also discovered that an employee objected to these changes and documented his refusal. An employee? Yes. Ethan. He refused to sign off on the reports and submitted a formal objection. He misunderstood the situation.
That misunderstanding was called integrity. And integrity has a way of leaving footprints that time can follow.
Mr. Mark, we've reviewed system logs, timestamps, and email trails. They don't align with your explanation. Are you accusing me of wrongdoing? We're asking questions. And right now, the answers aren't matching the records.
Truth waited. While Ethan walked away with nothing but a clear conscience, truth stayed behind, quietly building.
This investigation will continue. We advise you to cooperate fully. I have nothing to hide.
Truth waits patiently. Lies don't.
Mr. Mark, this investigation has progressed further than you were originally informed. We have completed a detailed review of multiple departments, digital logs, and internal communications. I've cooperated fully since the beginning. I don't understand why this is still being dragged out. It's being dragged out because the evidence continues to expand. What initially appeared as minor discrepancies have revealed a broader pattern. Patterns can be misinterpreted. Context matters. Context was considered. And even with full context, we found false records. False records? That's a serious accusation. It is. Which is why we're being precise. Multiple reports were altered after initial approval, figures were adjusted to conceal losses, and digital timestamps show the changes originated from your credentials. Anyone with access could have used my credentials. We anticipated that response. However, the system shows the changes were made from your secured device, during hours when only you were present.
Lies often survive on confidence. But confidence fades when truth presence recedes.
Those changes were made to prevent panic. We were protecting jobs. Protection does not require deception. And leadership does not excuse dishonesty. You don't understand the pressure I was under. Results were expected. Pressure explains stress, not falsification. We also reviewed a formal objection filed by an employee who refused to approve these reports. Yes. His refusal, combined with system logs, created a clear timeline.
The truth Ethan carried out of the building had stayed behind, waiting.
At this point, Mr. Mark, we are recommending disciplinary action pending further review. You are required to remain available for continued questioning. I never thought it would come to this.
It always does. Truth is patient. And when it speaks clearly.
This wasn't supposed to happen. This was never supposed to get this far. I told myself I was just making small adjustments, nothing serious, nothing that couldn't be fixed later. I convinced myself that everyone does it, that this is how the system works, that bending the truth was part of leadership. I never imagined it would turn into this. Questions, investigations, silence where support used to be. I thought control meant security. I thought if I managed the numbers, I could manage the outcome. But now everything feels out of control, and the walls are closing in. I sacrificed people to protect an image. I told myself it was for the greater good, but now I'm the one standing alone, facing the consequences I tried so hard to avoid. Ethan warned me, without even saying a word. His refusal should have been a sign. But I mistook his integrity for disobedience, and now his silence speaks louder than my excuses. This wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to be untouchable. I was supposed to come out on top. Now all I can think about is how quickly everything I built is slipping through my hands. How one lie demanded another, until there was no space left to tell the truth. I don't know how to fix this. I don't even know where to begin. All I know is that fear has finally caught up with me. Hello. This is Ethan. Good evening, Mr. Ethan. This is the Internal Compliance Office from your former company. We're reopening the case related to the financial reports you previously raised concerns about, and we need your formal statement. You're reopening the case? I was told everything had been resolved. New information has come to light during an ongoing investigation. Your refusal to approve the altered reports, along with your written objection, is now considered critical to establishing a clear timeline. So, you're saying the truth I spoke before still matters? It does. And it's necessary for us to hear directly from you, what you saw, what you were asked to do, and why you refused. I want to be honest, I left that building feeling like my integrity didn't matter to anyone. This call. It's unexpected. We understand. But integrity has a way of resurfacing, even when it's been ignored. Can you come in tomorrow to give a full statement? Yes. Yes, I can. Thank you, Mr. Ethan. Your cooperation is appreciated.
Who was that?
They're reopening the case. They want my statement. They said the truth matters.
So, God didn't forget.
No. He didn't. Mr. Ethan, thank you for coming in. This session is being recorded for accuracy. We'd like you to speak freely and honestly about the events that led to your termination. I understand. I've replayed this moment in my mind many times, not because I enjoy it, but because I needed to be sure that what I'm about to say is clear, complete, and truthful. Take your time. Start from the beginning. I was instructed to approve and sign off on financial records that I knew did not reflect the actual numbers. At first, the request was presented as a minor adjustment, something I was told was necessary to protect the company's image. But as I reviewed the documents more closely, it became clear that these were not adjustments. They were falsifications. Numbers were being altered to hide losses and mislead stakeholders. And what was your response? I refused to falsify records. I made it clear that I could not, in good conscience, approve documents that I knew were untrue, regardless of the pressure I was under. Were you aware of the consequences of that refusal? I was warned, directly and indirectly, that refusing would cost me my position. I was told that compliance was expected and that questioning leadership would be seen as disloyal. Why didn't you comply? Because integrity isn't conditional. If truth only matters when it's convenient, then it doesn't matter at all. I believed then, and I still believe now, that doing what is right should not depend on personal benefit. Did you document your objection? Yes. I submitted a formal refusal through the proper internal channels and retained copies of all correspondence. I wanted a record, not to protect myself, but to ensure that the truth existed somewhere, even if it was ignored. Those records align with our findings. I didn't expect my refusal to change anything at the time. I only hoped that one day, the truth would be allowed to speak for itself. Thank you, Mr. Ethan. Your honesty has clarified several key issues in this investigation. I didn't come here to defend myself. I came here to tell the truth. Ethan. You're not going to believe this, but it's true. Mark. He's been arrested. The company's investigation, the evidence you provided, everything, it all added up. They had no choice but to involve the authorities. Justice is being served, not because of luck or timing, but because the truth was documented, consistent, and unwavering. I don't know what to say. After everything, the fear, the sleepless nights, the bills, the uncertainty, it feels surreal. I honestly wondered if standing for what was right would ever matter. I wondered if obedience would leave me empty-handed. And yet, here we are.
Ethan, God defended you. Not in a way that avoided pain, but in a way that ensured that integrity was honored. You didn't compromise, you didn't bend, and you didn't allow fear to silence your conscience. Even when the world seemed against you, God never left your side. And now the outcome is clear, justice has spoken.
I remember the nights I prayed, questioning whether I had done the right thing. Wondering if obeying you would cost us everything. I remember the moments of doubt, when it felt like silence was the only answer, and yet, somehow, through it all, you remained faithful. That's what I've been trying to tell you. Faith doesn't mean the struggle disappears. Faith means holding on, even when nothing in the natural world seems to support you. The very same truth that cost you your job is the truth that brought justice. And now, the tables have turned, not through human effort alone, but through God's timing and wisdom.
See, sometimes the path is long. Sometimes the night seems endless. But God uses the seasons of waiting, the trials, and the tests to strengthen us, refine us, and set the stage for victory. Tonight, we can finally breathe. Not because the struggle is over, but because the truth has been revealed, and God has honored your obedience.
Thank you for believing in me, even when I doubted myself. And thank you, Lord, for reminding me that integrity is never wasted, that faithfulness is never ignored, and that your justice may be slow, but it is perfect. And now, Ethan, it's time to step forward, not looking back in regret, but forward with confidence, knowing that truth, courage, and obedience have power beyond what we can see.
God's timing is perfect, and He always defends those who honor Him.
Good morning, Ethan. This is Jennifer from Ashton & Co. We've reviewed your application, and while your resume is impressive, it's your integrity that truly stands out. We've heard about the situation at your previous company, and we want to extend an offer for a senior position on our team. We believe that someone who holds to truth, even when it costs them, brings a value that no paper qualification can capture. I don't know what to say. After everything that happened, the loss, the fear, the nights I prayed questioning if standing for what was right would ever matter, this is unexpected. It's understandable that it feels that way. Most people wouldn't recognize courage as a professional asset, but we do. We don't just hire experience. We hire character, and your reputation for honesty and steadfastness precedes you. Laura. All those nights I sat awake, wondering if God had abandoned us. If obedience would ever yield anything. All the fear and uncertainty. It wasn't wasted. It turns out, integrity speaks louder than resumes, louder than titles, louder than any temporary hardship.
See? God never forgot. He allowed the struggle to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and now He's opening a new door, one that honors both your character and your skills.
Thank you. Truly. I've learned that success isn't measured only by what we achieve, but by what we refuse to compromise, even when the world pressures us to bend. I'm honored to accept your offer, and I promise to lead with integrity, faith, and diligence. We're excited to have you on board, Ethan. Welcome to the team. All those nights of doubt, of fear, of wondering if we would survive. They led us here. God kept His promise in ways I couldn't see, and now a new door has opened.
And it's a door you walked through because you chose faith over fear, truth over comfort, and obedience over compromise. Your life, your story, is a testimony.
Yes. And this is just the beginning. We've seen the power of patience, prayer, and integrity. Now, we walk forward, ready to step into all that God has prepared.
When we choose integrity over convenience, faith over fear, and truth over compromise, God honors our obedience. Doors may close. Nights may be long. Struggles may seem endless. But when the timing is perfect, a new door opens, one that leads to restoration, opportunity, and peace that cannot be shaken.
Lord, I stand before you tonight with a heart that's been stretched, tested, and refined. I lost my job, my comfort, my sense of security. I watched doors close that I thought would never close. I faced nights when fear whispered that obedience had failed me, that standing for what was right had left me empty. And yet, through all of it, you never left me. Even when the world turned its back, you were still there. Even when I doubted, you remained faithful. I may have lost everything I thought was mine, but I never lost you, Lord.
And we never lost sight of you either. Even in the darkest moments, we held on to the hope that you were working behind the scenes, that your plans were not defeated by what we could see. Every prayer, every quiet whisper, every tear shed in the night, you heard them all. You were molding our hearts, shaping our faith, and teaching us that trials are not punishments, but lessons in trust. We may have walked through storms, Lord, but you carried us in ways we could not have imagined.
And tonight, as we sit together, I can finally see your hand in every moment. The moment I refused to lie, the nights I felt abandoned, the times I questioned your plan. Everything led to this: restoration, peace, and a testimony that your truth prevails. We are not the same people who sat in fear and doubt. We are stronger, wiser, and more grateful because you never stopped working, even when it seemed impossible.
Yes, Lord. Thank you for never losing sight of us, for defending us when no one else would, and for reminding us that integrity, patience, and faithfulness are never wasted. Thank you for turning our trials into testimony, our pain into purpose, and our waiting into victory.
We give you all the glory, Lord. For every closed door, every sleepless night, every tear, and every answered prayer. We are here, not because of our strength, but because of yours. We lost nothing that truly matters, and we gained everything that lasts forever. Amen.
Amen. Doing right may feel costly today. It may close doors, challenge your patience, and test your courage. But disobedience, compromise, or shortcuts cost far more, sometimes forever. Galatians 6 verse 9 - Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest. Faith in God does not promise a life without trials. It promises a God who is present through the trials. It promises that obedience is never wasted, that integrity is never ignored, and that every moment of faithfulness is recorded and honored. Even when we lose everything, we never lose God. And when we hold on to Him, we hold on to everything that truly matters. Stand firm. Trust the process. Obedience never goes unnoticed. Your faithfulness today shapes the victories of tomorrow. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember, doing what is right may sometimes cost you temporarily, but staying faithful, honest, and obedient will always bear fruit in God's perfect timing. Your courage, integrity, and patience matter more than you know. We deeply appreciate you, our viewers, for supporting this story and for standing with us in faith. May your life be filled with wisdom, courage, and the peace that comes from trusting God completely. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a story that inspires hope, faith, and integrity.